your homework as soon as you can, because for some students maybe it's very time consuming. Maybe for some other students it's not so time consuming. And then you can find time to make a plan with me or Mike to discuss your homework when you have difficulty. Don't wait until last 1 or 2 days. Wow, it's really hard to answer questions in the last 2 days to answer all the questions, right? So we have discussed these slides on last week's class. Okay, in-house and outsourcing is always a big discussion or argument, especially in the United States. Right? But if you go to some other countries, it seems, well, the argument between the cons and pro of outsourcing is not so fierce compared to the United States. The one reason I'm thinking about is because we lose a lot of jobs because of outsourcing. So it's pretty natural or rational to point the finger to the companies, the people do the outsourcing because we lose jobs. Another reason is definitely a quality issue, right? So when the outsourcing, we do enjoy usually the cheaper price of our final products. But as a customer, we are also customer. We also sometimes suffer the better quality. This can be endanger our lives, so at least it's not healthy, or it's a lot of problems. So that's the reason why in United States we heard that again and again every year, especially during the election year, always about that, right? Outsourcing, bring jobs back. Let's talk about business. Well, the business that's okay nowadays is really outsourcing. You can't exclude this option. Well, when you are doing business, no matter you are doing small company or middle or work for big company, you cannot exclude this option. It's not political. Maybe you exclude this option, you get a lot of elections, right? A lot of votes. But when you are doing business, don't exclude this option. Well, that's my suggestion. But whether you want to choose this option, that's your choice, right? Because there are lots of factors we need to consider, right? So capacity, expertise, quality, cost, risk. Well, you can say they are all cons of outsourcing. You can also say all of them can be pros of outsourcing. For example, quality. Traditionally, we think if we do outsourcing, right, standpoint in this country, United States, then usually we suffer worse quality. It's not always true. It's not always. Think about Toyota, Honda, right? Those Japanese cars. They are very good. Their quality probably is better than most American cars, right? Think about iPhone. Okay, iPhone 8 will come to the market like 2 months, right? iPhone directly outsource the component to Samsung. Directs. Okay, iPhone didn't produce these components. Purchased from Samsung. This outsourcing. iPhone did that. It's made in, not made in, it's US brand, but the components from Samsung. So reason, quality. The quality for these components provided by Samsung is better than Apple itself. So also cost. If you have better quality, you usually have higher cost due to outsourcing. So always think about that before making your decision. How to develop the capacity alternative? Those are the things can be done to enhance the capacity management. First, from design point, so when you begin the design process for the new products, for the facility, you want to consider the flexibility. Well, for example, if you want to rent a retailer store, right? If the space is limited, maybe at the beginning it save you some rental costs, but later, if you expand your business, it can create a problem to expand your capacity, right? Take stage of life cycle into account. What does this mean? Take stage of life cycle into account. Anybody? Monday is always sleeping, right? Friday is always want to go out to have party. So can only study on Wednesday.
Generally have a life cycle, and there's if they've passed the biggest point in that life cycle and are on the way down, you may not want to look at that.
That's right. So all the products, most products have followed the life cycle curve. You guys are should be very familiar with the life cycle curve. It's something like this. First is flat, and then sharp increase, and then go to this stage, and then fade away from market. So from this life circle, You think about different stage, your strategy for capacity is different. For example, if you are expecting a fast growth in that stage, or probably leading strategy can be the best strategy for you. You want to prepare in advance. You know the increase will dramatically, right? Well, if you're in this range, I would think about some cheaper way. Just satisfy your customer. You don't want to lose the market share. Maybe outsourcing can be a good choice, right? Maybe temporary worker, another choice. But when you experience downturn, even right, maybe some period your demand is still pretty high. You don't consider to increase the capacity. Maybe temporary worker outsourcing, but also cut your capacity step by step. So you definitely want to take this into consideration. Big picture, think about the whole organization. Deal with capacity chunks, smooth the capacity requirements as we have discussed. That means we want to smooth our demand. To make the demand smooth, then the capacity can be enough to satisfy the demand. Identify the optimal operating level. That's one of our goals. We'll discuss that a lot in the rest of this chapter. Choose a strategy if expansion is involved. Lots of strategy. Purchase a machine, hire people, outsourcing, increase the space. Bottleneck operation is an operation that in a sequence of operations, whose capacity is lower than that of the other operations. Right? So think about if we work in the production line, like the first row, student in the first row, right? Work in the production line, okay. And Joseph is the person who has the lowest production rate. Then who is the bottleneck? Who? Yeah, Joseph, right? And how can we solve this problem? If 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 people work in the production line, everybody has 100 units per hour output rate. Joseph has 50. How can we do? What should we do? Should we do anything? No? Let it go. Let it go, let it go. Just let it be idle there, right? No? Well, I never know this song until my daughter every day want to sing, to look at the video. Okay. And I have to, my wife pushed me, you have to learn this song, Frozen. I have no interest on any princess. But I watch every movie of Transformers, but for princess. But anyway, so what can we do for Joseph's situation? Only 15 units per hour, can you bear that? You guys can bear that? Let it go? What can we do? I will talk about different methods to deal with that. Because if you see a production line, the employee, the output rate is much lower than the rest of people. What should we do? Do we do anything? Nothing?
Well, obviously that person's holding you up, like from producing to their full, ability.
Yes. As the labor of Joseph, what you can do?
Yeah. Like train him
Yeah,
better
definitely.
in different ways.
Definitely. Training is a very good suggestion. Yeah, Kayla make a very good point. Training, like send Joseph to operation management class in UNC Pambo, right? At least gets A, otherwise you will get laid off, something like that, right? So training is one thing. Anything else we can do? We should consider to do? Train this person? What if the training is not enough? You increase from 50 to 70. That's what Kayla can do. Maybe Kayla is not the best teacher, but that's most she can do.
Maybe there's not enough people working in this department. Like, more workers could create a higher output.
Very good. Maybe that's the specific task where Joseph is already overloaded. When we design that, maybe we should assign 2 people, or maybe 1.5 people do that, instead of just put all the burden to himself. Right? Very good. Anything else we can do? To improve the efficiency of this bottleneck, we make sure, especially the laborers, okay, the function before and after him or her, want to make sure this person is not idle. Because if he is idle, it's just idle for the whole production line, right? Want to make sure you have all the material, all the components ready for him every second. So make sure he is not idle. That's another important thing to improve the bottleneck. Okay, next we'll talk about optimal operation level, right? Optimal output rates. So this curve is, you probably learned this curve from like microeconomics or some other class, very similar one. So you can see the x-axis is the rate of outputs, like 100 units per hour, 200 units per hour, 1,000 units per day, something like that. And the y-axis is the average cost per unit. Well, just pay attention here is per unit cost, it's not the total cost. Of course, the more you produce, the total cost will increase, but we're not interested in the total cost. We're interested on the average cost per unit. Okay, so the curve is in that way, right? If we produce really small number, like only 1 unit per hour, that's the extreme case, right? If you only produce 1 unit per hour, you still need some, like 7 people in this production line, right? Because you don't know the other function, other task about others. 7 people in this production line, they only produce 1 unit per hour, which means they have very, very high cost per unit. Agree? Right? 7 people. Oh, then it's understandable, right? If we increase our output rate from 1, 2, 3, 4 until 100, everybody, 100, smooth, right? We reach this very low cost, average cost. But then what's happened? The cost decreasing or increasing? Increasing again. Increase again. Well, for the first part, I will explain because you guys also can easily understand, right? Why it's decreased initially. Because when people are idle, machines are idle and not efficient, we want to reach the efficiency, so we have to produce more. But why? When we pass this point, optimal output rate, the average cost per unit increase. Why? Any reason? Or something wrong with the curve? When you pass this 100 units per hour, let's say this is optimal for our production line, why the cost increase? You think about it, if we pass these points, what's happened? We push, okay, 1 unit per hour, 10 units per hour until 100 units per hour for these 7 people. Right? Then we push further, we say you guys have to do 150 units per hour. Let's say per day, that makes more sense, right? Let's say per day. Okay, instead of 100 units per day, you have to produce 150 units per day. Then what's happened? What we must do? If we want to push them, you can't push them too further, right? Then what you can do to reach this 150 units per day?
Hire more people.
Hire more people, very good. Temporary worker. Okay. If you don't want to hire more people, not available, pay overtime, right? They work another 4 hours or 3 hours, right? Overtime. Then what's the problem? If you do that,
You lose money.
it's not lose money, but the cost per hour increase, right? Even the same 7 people, right? You definitely need to ask more if you work overtime. No mention temporary worker, you train them, maybe pay a little bit high, something like that. Light shifts, right? So generally speaking, you think about it from labor point, it's easy to understand. When you pass this effective capacity, something like that, right? When we pass these points, you push them further. That means usually the overtime, overload, people complain, the turnover rate is higher, and then you have to increase their salary to keep them in your company, and also machine. If the machine don't have enough maintenance time, the interruption can happen more frequently. All these factors contribute to the second part of this curve. The cost increase again. So now everybody on the same page, we know, okay, that's a curve. First the cost decrease, and then the cost increases. Then what we are really interested in this point, if we understand this curve, then, right, strictly thinking, right? Can we find this optimal value, optimal output rate? If given any facility we can find optimal, then it's pretty easy to schedule, to make schedule or prepare our capacity, right? Find the people, machine. Okay, just match this optimal output rate. That's optimal, you know. But in fact, for most situations, it's impossible to get these optimal output rates. Okay, we'll talk about, we have already talked about these two parts. Economy of scale, if output rate is less than optimal level, we increase the output rates, we decrease the average per unit cost. It's called economies of scale. This economies of scale, if we continue to increase output rates more than the optimal level, well, it will decrease our average cost. There are several reasons for the economy of scale. For example, fixed costs spread over a large number of units. We have some people, we have this rental facility, so the fixed cost is there. Construction costs, okay, as a decrease in rate, as a facility size increase. As we discussed the home price, right, house price, right? You increase the size from 2,000 square feet to 3,000 square feet is more expensive from like 5,000 square feet to 6,000 square feet. Processing costs decrease due to the standardization. Well, this economics of scale, okay, well, there are several reasons. For example, distribution costs increase because of the traffic congestion. Trucks so busy, and then shipping from a centralized facility rather than multiple smaller facilities can be a problem. Complexity, okay, let's make it more complex. Inflexibility, right? For example, your employer, they refuse to work overtime, then you need to find temporary work and train them, right? And turnover rate can be very high for temporary work. All this inflexibility creates a problem. Additional level of bureaucracy. But still, this optimal level is also affected by the size of your plant, right? If a small plant, okay, giving only one machine, 7 people, here maybe like 100 units is optimal. One medium plant, 2 machines, like 20 people, maybe 300 is optimal. And then larger size, like 3 machines, 100 people, that's maybe like 1,000 is optimal. It's pretty straightforward, right? But no matter what size of your plant, there exists an optimal output rate. But the question is that it's really hard to find that, except some extremely simple or simplified situation. Maybe not so simple, but we make it as simple as we can. Constraint management. Constraint is something that limits the performance of a process or system to achieve its goals. Right? For example, market problem. Resource, we don't have enough material, financial issue. We want to expand, but we don't have money to purchase the machine. Knowledge or competence, expertise. We don't have people like PhD degree know exactly what we can do in this field. Policy, okay, can be the regional policy, state policy, country policy, like some foreign country policy. How do you solve this constraints issue? So we need to first identify the most pressing constraints. Is that because of supply or material problem? Okay. But change the operation to achieve maximum benefit given the constraint. If we always face the shortage of our raw material, then we want to make sure the people working to pick up the raw material are not idle. 1 second after raw material arrive the entrance of our front door, then we pick up this raw material and begin to work, right? Since it's already the constraint. Make sure other portions of the process are supportive of the constraints. Like we have discussed, if Joseph is bottleneck or constraint, then especially people work around him have to fully support this constraint. Definitely, we should evaluate different ways to overcome the constraints. If the supplier is not reliable, we change the supplier. We maybe add an additional supplier. Right? Repeat the process until constraint levels are at acceptable level. Hopefully, they are in very stable level, each function. Okay, here we will discuss the general idea how to evaluate different alternatives to change our capacity. Right? Well, first is money talks. When we talk about business, it's always about money, profits, costs, revenue, right? First, whether it is feasible. Do we have money to do that? For example, usually purchase a machine is very expensive, right? Advanced machine, and can we do that? How much? Okay, maybe we can do that, but it's too expensive. And we can think about like for example, just upgrade our current machine or have some temporary worker is cheaper. How soon can we have it? Oh, machine is good, but if I need to wait 1 year to get a new machine, probably it's not the best strategy, right? Operating costs and maintenance costs. Well, the new machine may require very high maintenance costs. Useful life be like nobody used the Windows 9 in our class, and the life is pretty short for Windows 9, right? So you should consider if you upgrade or purchase a new machine or software. Will it be compatible with present personnel and present options? What does this mean? If we talk about purchase a machine, a new machine, what does this mean? Will it be compatible with present personnel and present operations?
Meaning like, does your current employees, will they know how to
Operate.
operate the
Yeah,
machine?
how to operate, how to make a maintenance, right? Also, other operation have to support the machine. Like maybe this machine require different like electric, like power, right? Instead of like 110 volts here, it's just imported from foreign country. They have 220 volts. Then you have to adjust your facility to. Right? No economic is public opinions. For example, outsourcing. Well, outsourcing is always an option, but when we maybe from economic part, it is the best option. But if the local residents, the governments already pay attention to your company, they really don't want you to do the outsourcing, then you should be very cautious to do that. At least you want to communicate well with them before you make this decision. Okay, next we'll talk about different techniques or models, okay, to evaluate the alternatives. First model we'll talk about is called cost volume analysis model. We'll spend several time on this, probably the rest of today. Financial analysis model, I believe you guys, many of you have taken the finance class that I've already talked about. Okay, if you invest $1 million at the beginning of this period 0, in the projection of 3 years, given the depreciation and other costs, what is your revenue profit? Have you done that? Something like that, right? Financial statements. Right? Decision theory. Okay, we will not cover this one. Waiting line analysis is also called a queuing theory. It's very useful, but we don't have time to do that either. Simulation. Simulation is a broad part, right? So you simulate the real situation. You find, okay, if you try machine, then what's happened? If you have some temporary work, what's happened? If you do outsourcing, what's happened? But generally speaking, in this class, we are only focused on the first method, cost volume analysis. So the cost volume analysis method focuses the relationship between the cost, revenue, and the volume of outputs. Okay. So the first thing we talk about is cost and revenue, right? Why we are interested in the cost and revenue? Who can tell us? Why we are interested in the cost and revenue? Anybody?
Because we want to know how much money our company's making?
Yes. What's the terminology of this? You have the sentence you have described. How much money you are making?
Profitability?
Yes. Profits, right? Because the profits is equal to revenue minus what? Cost. Right? So that's the reason. Okay, all the companies, except the non-profit company, our ultimate goal is always want to maximum profit. Right? You think about many people will maybe promote his company to say our revenue is like $10 million per year. Well, I'm not so interested in revenue. I'm really interested in the profits, right? Revenue doesn't guarantee you have a good profit, or maybe revenue is not so high doesn't mean you didn't have a very good profit, right? So the profit is the thing we are really interested in. Then we need to guess the cost and also the revenue, right? So how do you estimate the cost? Two parts, right? One part is the fixed cost. What components contribute to this fixed cost? When we talk about fixed cost of our organization, what's come to your mind? What's our fixed cost? What can be fixed cost?
A lease,
Huh?
like building
Okay,
lease,
building lease, rental costs, right?
salaries.
Salary can be. Some salary can be also variable cost. Depends on the contracts you make for the employee, right? Good. Anything else?
Insurance?
Yeah, good point, right? Property insurance, like health insurance, that can be definitely. Anything else?
Property taxes.
Property tax, yeah, it's still related to this. If you purchase this property, right? Anything else? Fixed costs. The people on the back rows too sleepy on Monday. What's gonna be the fixed cost? Utility costs, how about that? Right. Some parts of utility cost is fixed. For example, you still have the lights on in the evening, right? No matter what you produce in the daytime, right? When I first came to US, I don't understand why in the evening all the building all have lights, right? But then some people told me that's because of break-in problem. Right? That can be a reason, but still we waste a lot of energy. Yeah, at least another thing I don't understand, even until now, I live in this country for like more than decades, while our air condition. Why we want to make the same temperature for the 365 days indoor? Doesn't make sense for me. I mean, I like 4 seasons. I don't want to move to California where only enjoying so-called like spring all the time. I like summer and winter. If summer I want to feel a little bit hot, winter a little bit cold. Well, that's my preference. Maybe I'm wrong, but generally speaking, when we keep the same temperature for the whole year, we know our bill, right? It's very, very expensive, right? So those all contribute to the fixed costs, right? What about variable costs? What part is variable cost?
Materials.
Very good at it. Raw material, right? Well, you don't purchase a lot unless you want to produce a lot. Also, like labor costs, it can be variable, can be fixed as part and part. And the transportation costs can be variable costs, right? Especially also to USPS or UPS to do to make the shipping, right? So all these contribute to variable costs. The total cost, not surprising, is the summation of the fixed cost and the variable cost. Well, the total revenue is very straightforward. It's the sales price or revenue per unit times the quantity, the demand. Now we have these two, so I hope you already want to copy the formula. Move on. So the break-even point. Now we know that how to estimate our total revenue, how to estimate also our total cost. So the break-even point is the point make profit equal to 0. That's break-even. That means okay, you don't lose money, but you don't spend any money. So it's like your revenue equal to your cost. That's the break-even point, at least under the current situation. Right? So some people will calculate different way. For example, I really need $50,000 to support my family. So the break-even point is that my income is $50,000 per year. No, but when we talk about here, is profit is 0. Right? Okay. It's the volume of outputs, that's total cost and total revenue are equal. So the profit is equal to TR. What does TR mean? TR, total revenue minus TC, total cost, very good. And we know TR is the revenue per unit, R is the revenue per unit, multiplies Q is your demand or the quantity, right? Minus 2 components of total cost. One is the fixed cost, FC, fixed cost, plus V small v is a variable cost per unit times the quantity Q. Then we combine them together, it's become Q times R minus V minus FC. Well, I want you to pay attention to this R minus V. What does R minus V mean? R minus V, revenue minus variable cost.
Fixed cost.
No fixed cost.
Contribution margin?
Profit margin. Yeah, it's profit margin, right? Excluding the fixed cost. We have not considered fixed cost. Your fixed cost is spread out, right? Because it's really hard to consider per unit what's the fixed cost contribute. But if we exclude fixed cost, R minus V is your profit margin per unit, right? So times Q is the profits you get when you sell this quantity minus FC. And then break-even point is that we make this equation equal to 0. Right? Because this equation equal to profit. Now we make profit equal to 0. Then we move FC to the right hand side of this equation. And then we divide by R minus V. We get. So break-even point is here. FC divided by R minus V. Clear for everyone? How we calculate this break-even point? Clear? Still sleepy? Or you don't have time to sleep in 1 minute? We'll have example. Right? Any questions before we move on? Okay. Well, everybody can't sleep, right? Because I will walk around. Right? Like you elementary school teacher, walk around. Okay, so here's the example. So a manager has the option of purchase 1 or 2 or 3 machines. So that's different capacity alternatives, right? 1 machine, 2 machines, 3 machines. The fixed cost and the potential volume are as follows. If we purchase 1 machine, total annual fixed cost is $960. Well, the output range is from 0 to 30. That means maximum we can only satisfy 30 demand. 2 machines, fixed cost 1,500. The output range is 31 to 60. 3 machine, $2,000 fixed cost. The demand we can satisfy 61 to 90. Variable cost is $10 per unit, and the revenue is $40 per unit. It's not bad. You can see the profit margin is $30. First question: determine the break-even point for each range. That means you have to calculate this Q for 1 machine, 2 machine, and 3 machine. The rest of this class is this example. Good job. Too easy? So you are not sleepy?
That's it.
Hopefully in my class it's hard to go to sleep. minus 3. Why is that? Cast R minus 3 has nothing to do with Q. Right? You don't want to multiply with Q. Because Q is what we calculate.
Instead of like doing
Okay. Why do you multiply by this?
well, 30 because I thought like it's
No. Per unit. Revenue per unit. It doesn't matter how many units.
What are you stuck on?
So R is so you don't spend 30. At this moment, right? R minus 3. R is 40. V is 10.
okay.
That's all.
Yeah.
Don't
That's a
consider
huge
too much.
one.
Alan? Okay.
40.
What's your name?
Carl.
Carl. Good job. On trip? Finish? Yeah. Okay. MC, many students already finished. I found one student, so he probably finished in 2 minutes, right? And then sleepy for the rest of time. So anyway, so now for one machine, who can tell me what is the break-even point for one machine? Anybody?
32.
32? How do you get that?
360 divided by
Fixed cost?
R minus, or sorry, 960.
Okay. 960.
Divided by 40 minus 10, which would be 30.
32. Very good. So it's fixed cost 960 divided by R minus 1. Pay attention. Sometimes make a mistake when they plug in S. Don't think too much. This R is the revenue per unit. 40. You don't need to do anything. Just 40. Plug them in. 40 minus 10. You get it. How about two machines? Who can tell us the break-even points for two machines?
50.
50. How do you get that?
All right, do that 1500
1500.
divided by that 30. That R minus
50 units. Alright, very good. Three machines. Anybody?
6 or 7.
6, 7, how do you get that?
About
2,000 divided by
40 minus 10.
40 minus 10. So 66.7, then we can run up to 67. Okay, very good. This is not the end of story. Because if you think about it, you work for a company, well, you calculate break-even point doesn't create any value for the company. The company really need to know is that, what's your suggestion? What's your suggestion? Should I go to one machine? Should I purchase two machines? Should I purchase three machines? That's the problem. But break-even point can provide our baseline before we make this suggestion. First, just look at these three numbers. There's three options. One machine, two machines, three machines. And I'll tell you one option you should never consider. That's one option. Look at break-even point. Should be out of paper now. One machine. Why Montreal? Why you think one machine we should never consider that option?
Because the break-even point is higher than the range that you can output with one machine.
Very good. Like Montreal say, one machine, the maximum quantity we can produce is 30. But to reach this break-even points, we need to produce 32. So if you purchase one machine, no matter what you do, you lose money every day. Every day you lose money. You would rather just be idle, right? Do nothing. It's still better than to purchase one machine. Right? So we can exclude the first option by calculating the break-even point. So forget about that. So that is really a bad option because we just lose money. Between 2 and 3, which one do you think is better?
Number 2.
Number 2 is better?
3.
Number 3 is better? Okay, number 2. Why do you think number 2 is better for the students who choose number 2? Two machines.
It's about in the mid-range of what you have.
Middle range. like natural or neutral, like something like that. Very good. Middle range can make common sense. Greens?
Well, the break-even point is lower, so anything above the break-even point is profit. So we
So
want a low break-even point.
Okay, so you think number two, two machines.
I think so.
It has to do with cost also.
Definitely. Let's follow what Rins mentioned. Okay, Rins say, okay, we want the break-even points low. Well, of course, 50 is lower than 67, right? Of course that. But you think about that's the constraint, the upper bound of two machines can handle. What is the upper bound? 60. Right? So you have break-even point 50. That means if you purchase two machines, you have to produce more than 50. More than 50, right? To make money. The maximum you can produce is 60, which is 10 units more than your break-even point. What about three machines? 67 is the break-even point. How many you can produce? 90. That's the gap is 23. You see the difference? When we talk about, we can't compare apple to orange because for each the number of machines is give us the constraints of this production level, right? So even you think, okay, two machine 50, but the gap is only 10, right? 50 to 60. But here's the gap is 23. So if, let's say we have this simple assumption, whatever you produce, you can sell all of them. Then what is your optimal strategy? No matter what you produce, you can sell all of them. Number three, right? How many should you produce? 90, right? That's where maximal your profits. Clear, everybody? If you can produce everything, you sell all of them. Then number three machines, 90 quantity. That is your optimal capacity plan. Easy. Okay, let's make it even harder. That's too easy for you. Why you say you can sell all of them? Let's say you make the demand forecast. You make a demand forecast, and you are very confident your demand for the next year will be in the range of 50 to 80. Right? That means if you produce more than 80, you can't sell all of them. Right? So 50 to 80, that's very tricky because it's covered the range of two machines and also the range of three machines. Now my question is that, which option is optimal now? Two machines or three machines? We know for sure not one machine. In this range, 50 to 80, you can sell all of them.
Three machines
Three
because
machines?
there's a bigger range of demand.
Dylan?
with three.
Because you think 80 to 67 is more than 60 to 50, right? That's your answer is correct. But let's use a scientific way to make your decision because scientific is that okay. Here we have two range. You can choose two machines, right? Two machines, or three machines. Then we don't know which one is better because three machine we know that we can't go to 90. But two machine is covered the range from 50 to 60. That means okay, if we choose two machine, our optimal production level should be 60. Agree with me? If we choose two machine, given this constraint, the optimal option is 60 units. If we choose three machine, now what is my optimal production level? 80. Very good. Now we still don't know who is the better one, but we know if you go to two machines, 6 units. If you go to three machines, 80 units. Then what you can do? Previous page. Right? Calculate the profits. Right? Profits is equal to total revenue minus total cost. You get the quantity, this is the Q. Right? Fixed cost for three machines, for two machines. You plug into this formula. To calculate profits for two machines, 60 units production rate. Three machines, 80 units. Well, Dylan is correct. He has very sharp observation, but I don't expect everybody has this observation. But three machine will create a higher profit. But that's a scientific way. You can always do that. Right? Given the range, you find optimal. And then combine these several optimal to find the optimal of optimals. Right? Optimal's prime, that's my transform. But anyway, so that's the idea. Okay? Clear for everyone? So, well, I can tell you in the exam it's not so hard. I won't go so this level, but that's the way we find the best capacity planning. That's the real method.
Wait, so how'd you get the 80 per?
Because I have this assumption,
Changed.
the next year's demand is in that range. Yeah, any number fall in that range, you can sell over. But if you produce 90, you lose money because you can't sell them. Clear? So that's the reason 80 is your optimal if you choose swing machine.
And just,
Okay. You guys? One thing.
trying to do 620.
So.
That takes